All right, collective, here we go. Another Steve's Mailbag. All right, as always, these are always by request. It's Steve's Mailbag. There's a special email address there here on the playlist description and in the description of most of these videos, which talks about most or all of the videos, which gives it to you to submit a question. Anyway, this time around, it was someone who wanted to know about, and it's a lot of people actually asking the question differently, who wanted to know about how to release some of this pain from waiting for these soulmate connections, this twin flame journey. Okay, well, I tell you what, there's a few different things. There's something that pretty much everyone tells you, that I tell you sometimes too, which is to distract yourself, take your attention away from it, and pick up a hobby or whatever. Somebody wrote in rather humorously and said, the sewing hobby I picked up ain't working. Well, all right then. Then we have to cover a concept here. All right, and I've talked about it before, and it's something that's very important. It's actually one of the most common laws of the universe. And I don't hear a lot about it out there from anyone, but hey, it is what it is. It is the most common law in the universe. Really, in my opinion, it's a basic principle of every soulmate connection, at least the twin flame especially. Deep soul, the powerful connections, we'll call them. But we'll talk specifically about twin flame because I got a real popular twin flame video. That law, pardon my penmanship, is karmic debt. And the law says all karmic debt is paid. And for those international, pagado. There you go. Look at that, huh? I speak Los Angeles Spanish. I can say pagado. You say pagado, I say potato. Anyway, all karmic debt is paid. What's karmic debt? Yeah, I've said it to you before. I've said it to you in videos and extended videos and all that. I guess I never really explained it to you, but that very popular twin flame journey update video I have, very popular probably because everyone wanted to know about the 1974 Pinto versus the new BMW, and who could blame you? Karmic debt is your lesson. It's the lesson that you're supposed to learn and the lesson that they're supposed to learn. Most of you watching this, most of the people out there who are open to the connection and watching twin flame readings and watching tarot readings and waiting on somebody to come in, you're the divine feminine. And the divine feminine's lesson was brought to us by the great Kenny Rogers, according to my reading, which is you got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. That karmic debt is your side of the karmic debt. That lesson that you need to learn is your side of the karmic debt. Your person's side, the divine masculine, if that's not you, if that's your person, needs to learn, because somehow they've got themselves convinced that being vulnerable is weakness. They need to learn to be more vulnerable and not build walls around their emotions and shut down and cast people away before they find out whether those people are worth anything or not. Cast them away for something that isn't as good, that sucks, just because it's there and it's easy, that kind of thing. So that's the divine masculine's lesson, according to that video. They think vulnerability is weakness, when in reality being vulnerable is self-empowering. It opens your options up rather than shuts them all down. Your karmic debt, since I assume most of you are the divine feminine in the connection and you're more open to it, has to do with learning about your self-worth. Okay? Knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. Knowing when to walk away and knowing when to run. And there's actually a poignant part to the next part of the song too, about counting your money at the table. There's time enough for counting when the dealing's done, which is the next line in the song. The truth of the matter is, that's a lesson all in itself. I don't even have to bring in here, but it's really a lesson about you. In that part of the song about not counting your money at the table, the lesson is teaching you about the karmic debt. Because in the first part of your lesson, you need to learn your self-worth. You need to learn that you're someone who loves on a very high level. You're someone who is open to the connection. You're someone who's represented in that reading in your lesson by the Ace of Cups. Big love. They're represented by the King of Cups, who has an Ace of Cups, but they're kind of stingy about their emotions and they build a wall around themselves. It's a bit like going on a date. The King of Cups is a bit like going on a date with someone who's got like $1 million in the bank, right? And they take you to Burger King. You know, it's like, oh, fuck you. Seriously, you're taking me to Burger King. You know, it's that kind of thing. This person's driving a 74 Pinto and they can afford a brand new 911. You know, you can find a happy medium somewhere, but they're not. They're building a wall around it. Your karmic debt is the lesson you need to learn, which is your self-worth as a whole. Okay? So if you want to, so these connections, these soulmate connections, initially, we'll call it twin flame because we're talking about that twin flame reading. These twin flame connections have a separation period. You guys meet and you repel. Okay? Or one person runs. You got a runner and a chaser. Okay? When you're separated from each other, there's a core lesson, and that's what that reading pulls on. The core lesson of why you two were brought together into knowing. Okay? When you come together, these twin flame connections, strangely I said in this cycle, are conducive to actually coming together and having a relationship. The problem with having a relationship with a twin flame is that you're always a mirror for each other. So it's a bit like you, no matter how pretty you are, okay, it doesn't matter. You stare at yourself in the mirror for 5 hours, and you're going to find all sorts of shit wrong with yourself. You'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know about that spot. What's that spot? Oh my God, my left cheekbone's got a little dent on the bottom. You'll spot all kinds of shit. You stare in the mirror for 5 hours straight. And being in a relationship with a twin flame is like staring in the mirror 24/7. So there's a lot of fights. There's a lot of arguments. It can be a very volatile relationship because you're always showing each other's flaws. Granted, it's a complementary connection, but not everybody wants to work on their flaws all the damn time. So it tends to make people a little pissy. But initially, in the runner-chaser stage, when you two cross paths and one person books it, as most of you are in that stage now, it's the initial look in the mirror. And this person, for most of you, when they looked in the mirror, they saw everything wrong with them. And it freaked them out, and they booked it for the hills. That's their karmic debt. They need to learn the lesson. They need to learn not to do that. They need to learn that being vulnerable is self-empowering. You need to learn your self-worth and not to put yourself in a position. A lot of you are suffering. A lot of you are in pain. You're in great pain right now. And you need to learn the lesson not to put yourself in a position to give the King of Cups, Mr. I got $1 million in the bank, but I'm going to take you to Burger King, the power over you to keep you up at night and hold you back. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. So if you want to release from this connection, these connections come around on a cycle. They go round and round and round and round. I know, right? The graphics, you love that? That's SGI, Steve Graphical Interface. We don't do no fancy video here. Hell, I'm in a laundry room, for God's sake. These connections will keep coming around until you learn the lesson. Each of you learns the lesson. It don't matter whether you come together. It's about learning the lesson. The lessons are what the universe teaches us. That's our karmic debt. It's usually carried over from a past life where we didn't learn it. The lessons are why we're here. These connections, whether they come together or not, I say it all the time, the universe doesn't care whether you two get together. It really doesn't, for the most part. The connection lives in the 5D. You're supposed to learn a lesson. You have karmic debt to pay. So you'll never be able to release from this. You can distract yourself with a sewing hobby if you want, but you're not paying the debt. It's no different than your credit card. It's like staring at your credit card bill. You got a huge credit card bill, you're just staring at it. Well, it ain't going to get any smaller staring at it. You got to go out and get a job and pay it down. You just have to. So the karmic debt situation it is about learning the lesson. You learn the lesson and you're free. You can go. You're released from the connection. In fact, your soul will release like that. The moment you acknowledge the lesson, acknowledge it. It's acknowledgement that enables or enacts change. The moment we acknowledge something, it changes. The energy changes. So you need to learn the lesson in your soul, acknowledge that lesson in your soul, and then you pay your karmic debt off. Then you're all set. Your debt is wiped. It don't matter whether they ever learn their lesson or not. You hear some readers say it, and I say it all the time, you're their karma. A phrase, you're their karma. That's what it means. You're their karma. Their karmic debt is what they needed to learn from you two crossing paths. And until they pay it, they're going to be stuck in this loop. But they could be stuck in it alone. You don't have to be there. You can release yourself by paying your karmic debt and learning the lesson. But you've got to learn it for real. It's not just about telling yourself, Steve's right. I need to know when to fold them. I'm worth more than this. And blah, 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 blah. No. You need to feel it in your soul. And when you and acknowledge it, an acknowledgement deep within. Go within, go deep inside and acknowledge the lesson. The moment you do that, and it happens like that, you won't feel the pain anymore from the connection. They won't have any power over you whatsoever. You can then at that point decide, you can go ahead and pay your karmic debt in advance because you're getting the benefit of all these tarot readings out here on YouTube. You're learning what your karmic debt is. You got an advantage. You got a secret weapon. And the moment you learn it and acknowledge it, like I said, you're free. You can do what you want. You're free from the pain of it. They'll have no power over you. They can't get through. It's like a force field goes around you. You've paid the debt. The credit card is paid off. You can call the company, tell them to cancel the damn card because I don't want any more on the car. You know, that kind of thing. Then you're free to decide. Hey, you could say something to the effect of, well, if they come in, they come in. You know, and go about your life. And let them worry about their karmic debt on their side. And until they pay it, and their karmic debt, interestingly enough, that's why we often say they need to reach out to you. It has to be their idea. You hear us say that all the time. Well, my twin flame reading that I did the other day, the 74 Pinto one, backs that up. Because their karmic debt, the divine masculine's karmic debt, is all about them being vulnerable. Realizing that being vulnerable is not a weakness. So in order for them to do that, in order for them to pay their karmic debt, they have to reach out to you. They have to be vulnerable. If you reach out to them, you're just giving them, it's like giving somebody money. Here, take it. Yeah, you don't have to work, just take it. Yeah, there you go. Kind of a thing. No, they got to work for it. They got to pay off their karmic debt. Karmic debt comes over from past lives, generally speaking, and the problem is you want to pay off this. I'll give you the benefit of watching tarot readings right now. You want to pay off this karmic debt in this life. Because this connection cycle that we're all pulling on right now is very powerful. This is carrying over from many past lives. Okay? Most of you are in a very, very powerful connection. So you're paying interest on someone else's fuck up. So your past life you 3-4 times back, even as far as that. Somebody who just blew off the credit card, didn't pay it, and it just transferred over to the next relative, the next closest relative, which in this case is you, okay, in this life. You want to pay this off because in your next life, you can finish paying it off, but interest will have accrued, fees will have accrued, and it's going to be higher than it was. It's going to be worse for the next you in the next life. I mean, and you may think that doesn't matter to you, okay? You may think that doesn't, and that's fine. But it kind of does in a way, because there is no such thing as time, so it kind of carries over and adds it. It's all very fluid. So it should matter to you. You should. This is a very easy on the divine feminine side. It's a very easy karmic debt to learn. Your divine masculine person has a much more difficult karmic debt. They got a lot more baggage than the divine feminine. So that's very clear in the energy. This is a very easy debt to pay off and to learn and to release yourself from. So while I do recommend for some of you, okay, to just focus on something else and wait for this person to come in and all that kind of stuff, if you're a very spiritual person, if you're a person who's in touch with your intuition, go ahead and pay the karmic debt. Learn the lesson. Acknowledge it in your soul. You will be able to release from the connection and release from all this pain you're feeling. All this, I'm so sad, I'm so this, I'm so that. Just release it. Pay the karmic debt. All karmic debts are paid in the universe. They're all collected. So, and until they are, and if you don't pay it, you're going to have to pay it anyway. When this person comes in, as we learned from the 74 Pinto reading, when this, as it's now known, when this person comes in, you've got a heavy burden. You saw at the end of the reading, you've got a heavy burden and a decision to make. So you're going to be asked to pay your karmic debt then, knowing when to hold them or knowing when to fold them. You might as well figure it out in advance, because just because this person reaches out to you doesn't nullify the debt. It helps their debt more than it helps yours. For you, it creates a burden, because your karmic debt involves whether this is all worth it or not. Whether this person is, whether you love at an Ace of Cups level and they love at kind of a King of Cups level, is it, or even a Page as they show up in the readings a lot, is it worth it? So you might as well figure it out in advance. And then you can free yourself from the pain and likely open yourself up, because no other new energy is getting through this shit. Nothing can get in. It gets bounced off. It's like Star Trek when they say shields up. Shields are up. I mean, nothing's going to get past this particular connection. And you'll be surprised the moment you release the karmic debt, whether this person comes in or not that you're waiting for, whatever. You're free from the pain, but it'll shields down the whole thing, and someone new will come rolling in. The whole thing, you paying off your karmic debt only brings them in quicker as well. So, I mean, that's in a nutshell. Someone asked me, how can I, my sewing hobby isn't working. How can I release from this connection? The only way to release from a connection this powerful is to pay your karmic debt, because that's all the universe cares about, is you learning the lesson you're supposed to learn. At that point, if you pay your karmic debt and they never pay theirs, they never come in, they are always just putting up that wall around their emotions and thinking vulnerability is weakness, foolishly thinking that, that's their problem. That's their karma to live with. And that's what we mean by you're their karma. Okay? I mean, that's it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. That's all you can do, is learn the lessons you need to learn. And I've been saying this on videos. I suppose I needed to put this kind of cohesive video together. But I've been saying this on many of the videos I've been doing. I told, in fact, on an All Signs, or I believe it was a Cure for Cancer, one of the two, I said, you guys who are in pain over this are focusing on the wrong thing. You're all sitting around wondering, oh my God, are they going to come in? Oh my God, I'm going crazy. And you're drinking beer, you're popping anxiety meds, you're going nuts. You're focusing on the wrong thing. Focus on the lesson, on the karmic debt. Learn the lesson you're supposed to learn. Once you do that, all that pain will go away. Your karmic debt will be paid. The universe will release you from that tension. And it'll do it like that too. It truly will. It'll take it right out. And that's really all you can do. That's what these connections are about. They're here to teach you something. You're supposed to learn something. And coming together with a twin flame creates a whole new, as I said, a whole new set of problems. This particular connection cycle is conducive to it. It really is. But you're always going to be a mirror to each other. So it's always, depending on how that's part of the burden you're going to face when this person even comes in, because how many more things are they going to try to run away from that they're going to see in that mirror as you go? This is just what the 74 Pinto video showed you, was just the main lesson that you need to learn, your initial karmic debt. The rest of it is just little shit, but that little shit can end up being fights and spats and all kinds of things. It can be a very volatile relationship. So again, that's the burden that we saw with the Two of Pentacles and Ten of Wands at the end of that reading on the Divine Feminine side. Yeah, this person's probably coming in, but it's actually going to leave you in a position of you have to make a decision now, and it's going to be a real burden. My phone's going off. Who's calling me here? I don't want... Let's see what's going on here. This is terrible. What's going on? I thought I shut the phone off. Anyway, that's that. Sorry about the phone buzzing. So, learn the lesson. And you can focus on the right thing. Focus on the lesson that you're supposed to learn here. And not on, will this person reach out? Will this person reach out? Will this person reach out? This person has a karmic debt of their own that they need to learn. And until they learn it, they won't reach out. And until they learn it, you don't want them to reach out. Because you can't, as an Ace of Cups, Divine Feminine, be in a relationship with someone who's got a wall around their emotions and thinks being vulnerable is a weakness. I'm sorry, but you can't. The universe knows that. That's why there's distance here. And that's why there's a separation phase in the twin flame journey. Because each person needs to figure out their lesson. If you're focused too much on, I want them to come in, I want them to come in, you're missing the point of the twin flame journey, and you're just extending it, the great big pain in the ass twin flame journey, even longer. Focus on your lesson. Don't worry about whether they'll come in. Learn your lesson and you won't care if they come in. And even if they do, that'll tell you, then you can decide what you want to do from a more relaxed state. Even. And on the plus side, if they do come in, then you know that they've at least paid most of their karmic debt. They've let down that wall a little bit that they're putting up. And those stupid beliefs that love is money and love is, practicality and security and all that crap. None of that is love. None of that. And the Divine Masculine needs to figure that out. And that's their karmic debt. Yours is much easier. You just need to find your self-worth. It's really pretty easy, actually, because most of you are pretty awesome. Keep that in mind. All right. So, what else did I want to add? Anything else? I think that's about it. Again, like I said, the reason we keep saying, I think a lot of readers have said it, I say it to you a lot, this has to be their idea to reach out. Again, it does, because their whole lesson, the Divine Masculine side's whole lesson, is about being vulnerable and taking down that wall, like I said. So, reaching out to them is not paying their karmic debt for them. The universe won't let you pay their karmic debt for them. These are lessons you two have. It's a very important connection. You each have a very important lesson to learn. But focus on your karmic debt, not whether or not they're coming in. You'll be in a lot less pain. You pay that karmic debt. You learn your self-worth. You figure out that don't give people who are emotionally unavailable the power to do this to you. You'll be just fine. You'll be good. And you'll let some new energies in. Maybe the readings will change. And I'll start seeing something in the hidden energy section of my reading that says something new is coming in. Right now, nothing can get through this shit. Nobody's learning their karmic lesson. Nobody's paying their karmic debt. So it's just going around in a circle. And we see it in the readings, right? Oh, this week they're coming back. They're coming in. Oh, but they shut down. Oh, but now they're coming back. They're coming in. Oh, but they shut down, etc., etc., etc. It's been going around and around and around. Maybe you just needed someone like me to tell you, hey, stop it. Pay your karmic debt and this shit'll stop. This round and round stuff. You figure out your lesson, you won't care whether they come in. You'll be like, whatever. I'm free. Yay. But that's the only way to get free of a connection like this. It truly is. So I hope that helped. I hope that answered the question from this sewing lady. I enjoyed her email. She went on a diatribe for about 2 paragraphs about how the sewing hobby sucks, and she just gets halfway through sewing something and gets pissed at her soulmate, and then it gets ruined because the stitches go all. Look, I can dig it. Stop your sewing hobby and learn your lesson from this, and you'll be just fine. Pay that karmic debt, all right? And don't take it with you. Don't put your next life in debt because of this shit either. You know, it's crazy. We got to stop this cycle. We got to stop this circle. It's a very powerful cycle. So stop focus on your pain and focus on what you need to learn. Maybe even your sewing will get better at the end of the day. All right. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you like this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate all the subscribers, everybody who, plugs me or whatever. I appreciate it too. There you go. All right, stay tuned. Your mid-months are coming starting tomorrow, Sunday. This is the 11th. All right. Good luck.